Greetings friends, I am Obsidian. Boom finally released episode 75 after 3 weeks, and we sure were treated to some incredible but insane action during this episode. But before we get into today's video, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future analysis and theory videos. Also, give my video a like, as it will help me out. It will also let me know you guys like what I do, and that you appreciate my efforts. Let's begin. The scene begins where we see a storm happening, which by the way is the first time we see raining in this series, and I actually guessed that it would rain before episode 74 came out, since the G-Man and Titan cameraman leaks had some heavy clouds, so I thought it was going to rain that episode, but it turns out that it was raining in this next episode. Suddenly, we look to our right to see an Astro carrier destroying everything around it, with 2 camera copters shooting rockets at it, and others immediately retreating to get away. But this doesn't really help as it summons a shield in front of its face to defend itself, and seconds later, the Astro carrier begins to send out a fleet of Astro Interceptor X-Wing toilets to attack all of the camera copters, bringing them all down in the process. The POV cameraman turns and begins to look around the hideout, where we see the regular cameraman and large cameraman we recently saw in the 5 leaks on Defuk Boom's Instagram, and we also see the smoking cameraman in the background that we saw in the leaks too, but we also saw him in one of Season 24's secret scenes with G-Man and Titan TV Man. We'll come back to this guy later on. The regular upgraded cameraman is then putting his hands to his camera lens, and he is distressed because of the Astro invasion, and probably because of what happened to Titan cameraman and how he sacrificed himself in episode 74. Before I move on, did you notice it? Well, in the background outside, we can also see a moving chair. This chair is the same chair that we saw as the 5th leak on Defuk Boom's Instagram, but it's moving on its own, and the funny thing is that we actually see this chair later on. This chair survives this whole episode, so there has to be something going on with that chair. Either the secret agent or one of the twin green cameramen are sat down in invisibility mode on the chair, or the chair is a reference to a new race, maybe the computer men, since that does kinda look like a gaming chair, and we have seen hints of the computer race in previous episodes, so who knows. The POV cameraman looks down to examine his gun, and then he looks outside once again and notices some Skibidi toilets coming into view. And if you look closely, one of the toilets is the Ding Dong Ditch Strider toilet from earlier episodes in the series, except this time he has 4 rocket launchers attached to him. The POV looks to the left and sees 2 Astro Interceptor X-Wing toilets spawn in, who both look at one another and then both put a monocle over their eye and begin to smile sadistically. The POV cameraman looks back at the Skibidi toilets, who now look petrified, but before they can do anything, they are gunned by those Astro toilets, and some behind out of existence. RIP to these original and upgraded Skibidi toilets. They will certainly be missed. As the POV cameraman looks on at the damage, a sudden movement from nearby makes him zoom in, and there we see another new Astro toilet, but he looks similar to the Juggernaut Astro toilet, except it's a mini version, and he looks pretty scary too. The new Juggermini Astro toilet sees the POV cameraman, which makes him and the rest of the cameramen step back away from the shutter door, and as they wait for the attack from the Astro toilet, the POV cameraman begins to fire up his laser gun. Suddenly, a blast from the left side can be heard, and the POV cameraman turns to see that the Astro toilet has now made a new entrance to outsmart the Alliance and catch them off guard, and the POV fires at him immediately, and he tries to swipe at the POV cameraman with his arm blades, but the POV cameraman dodges, and the rest of the cameramen there all begin to attack him from the side, but he summons a shield to prevent the lasers from doing any more damage, and then the Astro toilet goes off killing a number of them, making light work out of them. However, the cameramen who were closer to us survive, and one large cameraman reloads his rockets, but not for long though, because the Juggermini Astro toilet comes back to the POV cameraman, and the cameramen nearby him, and the POV cameraman goes to attack once again, but this slick bastard has put his shield up once again, which reminds me of G-Man in episode 72 part 2 and episode 73, since he is such a coward at times, and it seems even the Astro race are too. The Astro toilet moves quickly and kills the other cameraman by dashing into him, and then he grabs the large cameraman and decapitates him in front of the POV. Then the POV cameraman once again sends another blast, but to no avail, because the guy puts his shield up again before he comes after him, hitting him with a blast, which causes him to fall down. And the fact that this POV cameraman didn't immediately die means that he is likely a special agent, and we can see this because he even survives again later on. And he does have a yellow shirt and a purple tie, which makes him different from all the other cameramen. And also, We saw a second-person view of this cameraman in the first leak of this episode. Also, this particular scene gives me episode 70 part 3 vibes during the fight against plunger cameraman, dark speakerman, and the scientist toilet, except this is seemingly more serious since it's against an Astro toilet. As the POV cameraman comes to his senses once again, the Astro toilet is now in front of him, ready to kill the cameraman. But suddenly, we see a soldier like Skibidi toilet on the side come in with the smoking cameraman sat on top of his cistern with his laser gun, and he begins to attack the Jugamini Astro toilet. This shows that this smoking cameraman is also a special agent because he also survived against the Astro toilet's first wipeout attack, and also he survived the Astro invasion situation back in episode 74. We know this because he was in the same area as the secret scene, which was the same area the Alliance and the Titans were at in episode 74, before the Astro invasion began, which shows that he did survive that somehow, so maybe some unique characters amongst that group also survived too. Anyway, another Skibidi toilet with lasers spawn in behind the Astro toilet, and he attacks him, but not for long, because shortly after, he screams and gets destroyed. Then an acid bomber masked Skibidi toilet goes on top of the Astro toilet and explodes, causing one of the Astro toilet's laser cannons to drop. Then the Jugamini Astro toilet gets irritated and it lasers at the smoking cameraman and soldier like Skibidi toilet, but they somehow survive. The POV takes this chance to throw an explosive toilet paper grenade at the Astro toilet, causing his other laser cannon to break off too. Before I continue, a while ago I think back in episode 73 part 1, I had a theory where I said that the toilets and the Alliance will team up against the Astro toilets very soon, and I was once again correct. And getting to see this was incredible since we will finally get to witness the takedown of the Astro toilets very soon, but I am sure that it is not going to be that easy. Anyway, after the POV cameraman's explosive attack, the Astro toilet gets angry and he hits the POV once again, this time with his arm. Before all hope is lost and the Astro can finish off the POV cameraman, a Skibidi mutant drops from the ceiling and has begun to laser the Astro toilet's helmet. But the Jugamini Astro toilet manages to push that mutant off, now going after the mutant. This mutant tries to use its laser gun, but it isn't enough, so the POV cameraman helps, and he uses his stun gun, and they now have an advantage, because the combination seems to slow him down some more, and then the smoking cameraman and his Skibidi friend attacks the Astro toilet from behind, and he throws them off of him, but it's a little too late. Suddenly his helmet pops off, and we see what can only be described as an ear of an animal, perhaps a dog. Does this mean that the Astro race is an alien hybrid race? Perhaps there are Astro hybrids with cats, or birds and dogs. Maybe the Astro toilets with the gas mask. Like the Juggernaut Astro toilets are the ones that look the less human, so they have to cover their faces, and then some of the other ones don't have to cover their face because they look more human than others. Who knows? But what Dafuk Boom said to Elite Cameraman during the interview, I think there are a lot more Astro toilets overall. And this thought is extremely scary for real, but maybe there's not a lot of them. The mutant quickly jumps onto the back of the Astro toilet once again and kills it off, frying his brains out in the process. The POV cameraman watches as the head of the Astro toilet falls to the side, and then looks to his left to see the smoking cameraman we saw in the recent season secret scenes, and his Skibidi friend from up close, which looks to be one of the urinal toilets all the way back from episode 2. But he looks to have been heavily upgraded and has plenty of weaponry on him, but I could be wrong about that. However, it does have the male 07 head model, and we can also see that he took one of the Astro toilet's blades. The POV cameraman looks around at the ceiling because he hears something, and then he looks over to the mutant who finished off the Astro toilet, but this mutant Skibidi toilet is different because she's a woman. I guess at last, Dafuk decided to bring in a female Skibidi character, which was a smart move for him, and hopefully she becomes a big star because I sure want to see more of her. The POV cameraman looks at the mutant Skibidi woman, who puts her finger up to her mouth, as if to tell everyone to be quiet while they get out, because they know that there are enemies around. As they begin to walk, notice there is something on the back of the mutant Skibidi female. Yes, that is one of that Astro toilet's laser cannons she must have taken when we look to the left to see the smoking cameraman and his Skibidi friend. That is not the only thing she took though, because we can also slightly see that she took one of the Astro toilet's blades also. I assume that she did this so that this group can use the Astro technology against the Astro toilets themselves, like Titan Cameraman did, which would do more damage to the Astro toilets, and they're gigachads for that. Before they can make it all the way out, we suddenly hear a scary voice which says, "I can see you through the walls." This prompts the other 3 survivors to run away, and the POV cameraman looks behind himself and up to see part of the ceiling being torn away and the real Juggernaut Astro toilet making an appearance. Before he can make an attack, the Juggernaut looks down all sad, and we do see that in his mask as he picks up the Juggermini Astro toilet's corpse that the Alliance and the toilets killed from before, and he says, "What? My baby?" Not gonna lie, this scene really was heartbreaking because of the way he looked incredibly upset at the passing of his supposed child, and it seems like the Juggernaut Astro toilet is a very emotional Astro toilet, unlike the others, because he is always the one to save the Astro toilets, as he did in episode 72. He sacrificed himself to be able to run away and save the detainer Astro toilet from getting killed. That was his whole purpose there. He wasn't there to fight for the most part. He was just there to save the detainer Astro toilet and run away. So it seems like this time, he failed in his mission, and he is upset now because he didn't save one of his kind this time, and because of that he does get angry. This had to be done though, since it was an Astro toilet, and they're the big threat to everyone in the Alliance and the toilet side. Also, the way this Astro toilet took out that large cameraman was brutal, so he got what was coming. The POV cameraman hurriedly begins to walk quickly, and then he runs away and gets out as the Juggernaut Astro says, "You'll pay for this." The Skibidi woman mutant pulls a crate to cover the exit hole, and then she grabs the POV cameraman and begins to fly off with him. The POV cameraman looks at her for a moment, and I think he has a little crush. But anyway, seconds into them flying off, a nearby flash can be seen, and suddenly, both of them are blasted out of the air. This shows that the Juggernaut Astro toilet has used his attack and blasted at the group, and they all got knocked back by the sound wave, just as Titan Speakerman did. However, for smaller agents, they somehow all survive, and we see the POV screen go black for a few seconds, before the POV cameraman sees the Skibidi soldier toilet buzzing through the rubble, and the Skibidi woman digging out the rubble to allow the smoking cameraman to lift the POV cameraman up, getting him back on his feet. The POV cameraman briefly looks at both the smoking cameraman and his Skibidi friend, and we see them both smoking. The smoking Skibidi toilet does a little head nod, and I guess I'm going to refer to both of them as the smoking duo going forwards, and then the POV cameraman looks at the mutant Skibidi woman, who looks back at him and is totally okay and pretty much saved his life. Wouldn't be surprised if he actually does have a crush on her. Anyway, the POV cameraman gives her a thumbs up, and she slightly smiles back at him as the scene ends. Defuk certainly cooked up another masterpiece with this one, and once again, he shows why he can never disappoint with his animations. His work just gets better and better each time, and I'm sure that I speak for all of us when I say that waiting 3 weeks each time isn't an issue when episodes come out like that. However, I do understand why some people can get a little impatient, since 3 weeks is a long time, but animation takes time. It is what it is, and in some circumstances, episodes can be done faster, and episodes can be done at a later date. It all depends on the episode itself. But what do you think, friends? Did you enjoy the episode? If you did, let me know in the comments, and also your theories on what could happen in episode 76, which would be very welcome. Also, come join Chasing Skylar's Discord, where you will find me and plenty of Skibidi leaks and chat to the awesome community there. Thank you for watching my video. I was Obsidian, and until next time, my friends.